Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Sunday, October 23rd, and I was just watching the Washington Commanders upset the Green Bay Packers, and at the same time I'm watching the Philadelphia Phillies and the San Diego Padres playing the National League Championship Series, of which I am, as a Dodger fan, I'm openly rooting for the Phillies. In fact, last night on Twitter, I was telling Cards with a Story that I was openly rooting for the Phillies, and some Padres fan called me a clown. I chose not to respond. Anyway, before I get to I'm going to do a video response today, but I'm going to show you a card just because I did receive a card in the mail yesterday. And I've seen some video responses where people, when they're doing video responses, they say, I need to be showing cards still. I just can't talk. So I thought, you know what? They're kind of right. So I'm going to show one card that arrived in the mail yesterday, and then we'll start my video response. So let me see if I can do this right in the. I'm going to do it without having to switch cameras here. And this is a 1966 National League batting leaders. Love this card. Look at that. Roberto Clemente, Henry Aaron, and Willie Mays. I mean, that's three iconic players on there. So, there are some league leaders cards that have 4 Hall of Famers. There's even one in 1963 that has 5, but absolutely love this card. And I picked this up in a PSA 3. The PSA 4s and the PSA, especially the PSA 5s, are getting really expensive on this card. So, I found a 3 way below VCP price, so I took it. All right, so there's our card showing my one card for today. Today's video response is for John Wade Boggs fan, who has just surpassed 1,000 subscribers. That's pretty awesome. I've been watching John a little over a year, and at first I was a little misled because it's called Wade Boggs fan, and I go, why am I watching a guy that only collects Wade Boggs cards? By the way, his room is spectacular. It's filled with Wade Boggs jerseys and cardboard stand-ups, and he has a very nicely decorated room. So definitely, if you haven't seen him, check him out. But the one thing that I didn't know about John is he collects a lot of vintage, and I really like that. Since I only exclusively collect vintage cards, it's nice to see how he goes about it. He has 2 shows that I make a point to watch whenever they come on. That's the Vintage 100 Index. I really like that show a lot. Kind of reminds me of being in college again. He brings the economics into the card collecting world, and it's just interesting to see, are your cards going up? Are your cards going down? But he does it from a perspective not only of an economist, but of a collector as opposed to an investor. So I really enjoy that show. The other one that I'm really starting to catch on to is his top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay. I actually find myself saying, I'm not going to watch it. And then I start watching and I go, oh, I got that one, or I don't have that one. So if you're not watching John Wade Boggs fan, you're missing out because he brings a very interesting perspective to the hobby. I also, one thing I do love about John also is he always brings in, he talks about a budget. And I think in card collecting, that's very important because there are some guys on here that they just spend like like they've got all the money in the world, where John puts it into perspective, and he and I seem to kind of have the same taste and the same budget levels. So I feel I have a lot in common with him. So it's a great channel if you haven't seen it. So check out Wade Boggs fans. Now, his video response was to call out 5 other channels that have less than 500 subscribers. So I made a point of looking at my subscriptions, and there were 5 that really did stand out. And in all 5 of their cases, I don't understand why their numbers aren't higher. And I know my numbers aren't the best, and I'm still pretty new at this, but I'm still going to call them out, and because I think these guys deserve attention. So let's start here. I'm going to bring out my list here. My first seller is SFI Sports Cards with 179 subscriptions. I like this guy. He has a voice. He has the best voice. He must be in radio, or he studied radio in school. He has the best voice of anyone, practically anyone on YouTube when it comes to card collecting. He has a lot of 50s, 60s, and 70s cards. And the fascinating thing about him is he loves buying the cards raw and submitting them to SGC. And he just has a really nice collection. And I'm not talking just about superstars. I was watching a video of his the other day, and he pulled out a 1968 top Sam McDowell card. And he's just got a nice, nice variety of vintage. And I definitely think that if you're going to be buying, I'm assuming some of my viewers are new into the hobby. And if they are, you should really be checking out SFI Sports Cards. All right. Next on the list, Stories in Cardboard. Stories in Cardboard, 181 subscribers. I like this guy. This guy he's historical. He is collecting, he does collect baseball cards. He also has a very nice, he's putting together a 1954, 1955 Parkhurst hockey. And I used to collect hockey during the early Upper Deck years, but he's got some really nice looking 50s cards, and he's currently putting together a set of that. And also, he's very historical, and I'm historical. I think this is why I'm drawn to him. He has a really good video about the history of, as a Los Angeles Rams fan, he has a video out there of basically the history of logos on football helmets and how the Rams started. It's a great story. It's only 5 minutes, and he really goes into full detail about the history of or the first logo put on a football helmet. And he's got good stuff. He's got good stories, which is why he's called Stories in Cardboard. So you definitely have to check it out. Stories in Cardboard. All right. My next one, this one I'm a little surprised about because I've been watching him for at least a year and a half. Alan's Cards. Why does Alan's Cards only have 248 subs? Alan Subs has an amazing vintage collection. 30s, 40s, 50s. Talk about quality. Yeah, he's into the quantity, but it's like all of his cards are graded. All of his cards are superstars. And you just, whenever he puts out a video, you literally sit there with your mouth open going, what else does this guy have? Because he has a lot of good cards. So I like watching him. I get very envious watching his stuff. He's not going to bring out 1,000 cards. He shows you 3, 4, 5 cards, and it's always like Joe DiMaggio or Ted Williams. Just great ball players. So definitely, Alan's Cards, 248 subs. That needs to go up. All right, my man Huck Sports Cards, 276 subs. Again, this guy, he's good. He needs more than 276 subscribers. He's a set builder, which I have in common with. He also, by the way, you should see the video he put out the other day. A card show in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was kind of jealous because it was small, and they had way more vintage than a show in LA would ever have. So check that video out. But he's a set builder. He's building 1972 Topps set baseball. I think he needs he's down to under 30. He's working, I believe, on 1956 Topps football. He's halfway there. And the one thing I really respect about Huck, I could tell he loves St. Louis teams. He loves the Cardinals, loves the Blues, and someone who grew up and has lived his entire life near Los Angeles, I'm one of those guys that's old school and roots for the local teams, and Huck does that too. So I really respect and love checking out his programming. So again, That's Huck's Sports Cards. My last guy, I don't know what this guy's doing. You know, this guy should have at least six times subscribers. Dean Gerhardt. Yeah, I collect all. 343 subs. Dean Gerhardt, I have been watching at least a year and a half, and this guy really does collect everything. He has like triples and quadruples of near sets or sets. His card room is spectacular and organized, I should add. If there's one thing I can't stand is a card room that looks like a bomb hit it. It looks like we were 12 years old. Dean has everything in binders, and if he doesn't have them in binders, he has them nicely laid out in 800 count boxes, and he's labeled them properly. This guy, I was talking to him several months ago. He's building a 1961 Topps baseball collection, and every card seriously looked mint. It was probably excellent to mint, but he believes in quality. And the funny thing is, whenever he shows a video, he went to a flea market, he went to a card store, and he shows off 20 or 30 cards. They're always spectacular looking. So I'm always like, where does he get his cards? But I would be very curious, and I wish he'd put out a video of this. Or he doesn't have to show us any cards, but I wish he would just say, here's what I need for the 51 through 70 or the 51 through 80 Topps baseball sets. And then do the same thing for football, basketball, and hockey, because I swear to God, I think he has at least 90% of the Topps runs from the 50s through the 80s. So Dean Gerhardt, like I said, 343 subs, deserves way more. All five of these guys, though, are really good, and I highly encourage my viewers and those people who are currently watching who aren't subscribers to check these guys out, because I think you guys will learn a lot if you're going to be collecting sports cards. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Again, congratulations to John Wade Boggs fan. Congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. Keep putting out that content, because a lot of us are watching and we're learning from you. That's the most important thing, and we're having fun. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Go Phillies.